quite a few times in the last few months. It means a lot to me. It was inspired by a poem called "You Bring Out the Mexican in Me" by Sandra Cisneros. And "You Bring Out the Mexican in Me" is one of my favorite poems, and I wanted to recreate that experience using my experience. So this is "You Bring Out the Sri Lankan in Me." You bring out the Sri Lankan in me, the glint of tiger's eye, the monsoon of memory. You bring out the Sri Lankan in me, the craze of Poya night in me, the dipping ginger biscuits and hot plain tea in me. You are the one I would surrender other loves for, share the sucking of the pulp of manga kotta with, screw the fashionable guilt over surami and puttu with, listen to the kanda shashtika within me. Comb my hair with olive oil, call me Kannamma. Make love to me with all the poems of red earth and pouring rain, and I will be yours, maybe, maybe, for you. You bring out the Sri Lankan in me, the accent like the surprise of sweet and mango pickle in me, the lion emblem on all the embassy cutlery in me, the dreadlock snake charmer and the dreadlock banyan in me, the reheated idiyappam and potato sodhi at midnight in me, the waking up to the thud of a talagoya on the roof in me, the Mahavamsa in me, the Navratna of desire in me, the love of the coast in me. You bring out the Inji Idippalahi in me, the sapphire in me, the curves inside a batik print kaftan in me, the baila like a baby on the hip in me. You do, yes, you do. The Draupadi Amman of the blood in me, the song of the Batikalomin Mahal in me. You bring out the ceasefire breach in me, the seafarer's serendip in me, the forgotten railway in me, the secret Catholic prayers in me, the superstition and the weakness for synchronicity in me, the superiority complex in me, the pronouncing it Idi Cologne and Sorol in me, the Saloni not Indian in me, the Pan not roti, Kochika not Mulahai, Kusini not Tamilari, Om not Ama. No wonder we think Madrasis are all buffaloes in me. The half Madrasi, half buffalo in me. You bring out the insurgency in me, the die-hard Marxist sympathizer in me, the Noor Elias strawberries in me, the family scandals in me, the sneaking out during nighttime curfew to buy a birthday cake in me, the weakness for chubby men with moustaches in me, the Andavakam Tangachi in me, the Panamaran plantations in me, the world's #1 cinnamon exporter in me, the elephant fetish in me, the writing final exams under the desk during an air raid in me, the Colombo 7 bourgeois in me, the Kunju cheek sniff kiss in me, the wedding love cake and brandy fruit cake in me, the spitting thrice to cure Trishti jinx in me, the ruins of Kandukulimale in me, the Buddha's tooth relic in me, the cannons on Gaul face in me, the riot in me. You bring out the Ravana in me, the Yakshini curse in me, the graffiti poets of Suragaya in me, the Ves Muhunu devil mask in me, the candy and drum beat in the soles of my feet in me. You bring out the burning of the Jaffna library in me, the fall of Elephant Pass in me, the tsunami camp rape survivor in me, the Black July 1983 in me, the displacement in me, the martyr for my mother's tongue in me, the dancing alone in exile in me, the bells of St. Lucia Cathedral in Kotahena in me, the allegory of the wood apple and the elephant in me, the homemade chiku ice cream in me, the coconut and everything in me. You bring out the refugee in me, the tearing up my passport on the plane to Canada in me, the asylum diaspora and the raging ghost of Danu in me, the sorrow at my heels, my prettiest anklet. You bring out the suicide bomber in me. You turn my heart into a hand grenade. Because of you, I have transgressed these borders. En Manbasane, En Yuktam, only yours, only you. En Manathil Kuriyakara Vidadane Puri. Love the way a Sri Lankan woman loves. Let me show you. Love the only way I know how. Okay, I'll read one more and then a couple couple of others can read, and then I'll come back and read for a little bit again. This is called Parampara, and it was written in the voice of my great-grandmother, who was an incredible woman who lived by herself in a small town in 1923, Lankan, after she left my great-grandfather and her very young son, who grew up to be my grandfather. This happened shortly after her daughter died. And she's a very powerful influence in my life, and I feel her presence and her spirit very strongly, although I never met her when I was alive. Oh yeah, I should mention, Iyari is the native Mexican Huichol Indian concept of heart memory. And I've called my chapbook that, and I think my full-length book of poetry, when I get it finished, will also be called Iyari. I find my Iyari in the hearts of vegetables I feed in my garden with my own blood, in potatoes and leeks, the concentric aubergine hearts of onions, my deviant strawberries. It flourishes in soil, doesn't dangle from my ears or around my neck. It isn't an ornament. I will my bleeding to coincide with full moons. It's easier for them to attribute my lunacy that way. Rumor has it that I do my sprinkling at the stroke of midnight. I do it in the late afternoon, after the radio switches to news. I don't care for news. The calyx and the beetle vine, the roses that bloom above my daughter's skull. Every year on her birthday, I unearth it, sip arrack from it, plain sugarless tea if I can't find decent coconuts. Nobody will remember how she died. In my mind, I only see blood dribbling down a wall, the strips of cloth they tied me to the bed with, and nothing of the missing days between then and when I brought out my trousseau box and found keys to call my own. Today I visited Puragam, the oracle. What she doesn't know yet is that one day her prized fighting cock will disappear. She will eventually divine that her son had made a curry of it. The crowd parted at my presence, always a laugh. When you are 20, you will marry her niece. I see 5 children, a 6th stillborn, long lives, and oh, my sweet child, the places you will take this blood, the places you will take it. My son, I will come back as the gypsy granddaughter like a caldera. She will resemble me, though you will never mention me, only your sister, the one you could not possibly recall, whose skull holds my roses in the sweetest embrace. She will be bequeathed the expectation of Parampara. She will fear roosters.
One-minute intermission.
Who's there in the house?
Yes.
There's lots of room up here, so...
Yeah. Let's move up a little bit. So
KG,
that,
come over here.
more space.